Welcome to No Longer Conformed. I'm Erik Garthe, and we are studying Ministry with Jesus, Bible bits from Luke. In this session, we'll be looking at Luke chapter 14, verses 25 to 33. Let's read our text in Luke 14, beginning with verse 25. Now great multitudes went with him, and he turned and said to them, "If anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. And whoever does not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. For which of you, intending to build a tower, does not sit down first and count the cost, whether he has enough to finish it, lest after he has laid the foundation and is not able to finish, all who see it begin to mock him, saying, 'This man began to build and was not able to finish.' Or what king going to make war against another king does not sit down first to consider whether he is able with 10,000 to meet him who comes against him with 20,000? Or else, while the other is still a great way off, he sends a delegation and asks conditions of peace. So likewise, whoever of you does not forsake all that he has cannot be my disciple." Jesus redefined loyalty in what it means to be a disciple. Loyalty meant being there for someone and supporting when it's inconvenient. A disciple is committed to the life and teachings of another person. Jesus took discipleship and loyalty to a much higher level. He called his disciples to give him their all and to be loyal to him above everyone else. Is this kind of discipleship practical or even possible? In Galatians 2:20, the Apostle Paul affirms the possibility. Christ in us. I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. What are the benefits of giving our all? Our text for this session highlights three benefits of giving our all to Jesus Christ. First, giving our all to Christ frees us to love our family more. Luke 14:26. If anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. Does not hate. It seems like Jesus is telling us here to hate our family members if we desire to be a disciple of his. Is that what he's saying? Well, look at Matthew 22, verse 34 down to verse 40. But when the Pharisees heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, they gathered together. Then one of them, a lawyer, asked him a question, testing him and saying, "Teacher, which is the great commandment of the law?" And Jesus said to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. This is the first and the greatest commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets." Love the Lord so much that any love you have for others seems like hate in comparison. Three results will occur when you give your all to Jesus and love others, your family, with agape love. Your family will become healthier and more functional. Your family will become wealthier in spiritual resources. And your family will become wiser with Christ as the head. 1 Corinthians 7:14. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. Otherwise your children would be unclean. But now they're holy. Notice this verse in its context of verses 10 through 16. Now to the married I command, yet not I, but the Lord. A wife is not to depart from her husband, but even if she does depart, let her remain unmarried or be reconciled to her husband. And a husband is not to divorce his wife. But to the rest, I, not the Lord, say, if any brother has a wife who does not believe, and she is willing to live with him, let him not divorce her. And the woman who has a husband who does not believe, if he is willing to live with her, let her not divorce him. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. Otherwise, your children would be unclean, but now they are holy. But if the unbeliever departs, let him depart. A brother or a sister is not under bondage in such cases, but God has called us to peace. For how do you know, O wife, whether you will save your husband? Or how do you know, O husband, whether you'll save your wife? You become a conduit of love for Jesus to enter your family, even the unbelievers. And then second, giving our all to Christ frees us to choose best over good. Look at verse 27. And whoever does not bear his cross and come to me cannot be my disciple. And if you drop down to 33, so likewise, whoever of you does not forsake all that he has cannot be my disciple. There are some good things in life, and yet Jesus makes it clear that you cannot be his disciple unless you bear your cross. You cannot be his disciple unless you forsake all you have. God only gives grace to the person who repents and places Jesus first in his life. 1 Peter chapter 5, the second part of verse 5. Be clothed with humility, for God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Jesus Christ must be above all other relationships, even family members. Serving the Lord, bearing your cross, must come before all other vocations. All your possessions must be available for God's work as he directs. This is the concept of stewardship versus ownership. When you give your all to Christ, you learn to recognize the best, wait for the best, work for the best. And then third, giving our all to Christ frees us from fear and doubt. Verse 28 down to verse 32. For which of you, intending to build a tower, does not sit down first and count the cost, whether he has enough to finish it, lest after he has laid the foundation and is not able to finish, all who see it begin to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. Or what king, going to make war against another king, does not sit down first and consider whether he's able to, with 10,000, to meet him who comes against him with 20,000? Or else, while the other is still a way off, a great way off, he sends a delegation and asks conditions of peace. Fear or failure or defeat is powerful, much like the fear of rejection. This keeps us away from many things in life, from stepping out in faith. When Jesus is the center, the true center of your life, fear begins to melt into faith. Trust him. Jesus won't let you down. Freedom results. Freedom from the fear of being on the losing side and the defeat it brings. Freedom from the fear of not being able to finish the task and its defeat. Freedom from the mockery that comes from defeat. Jesus Christ is the victor eternally. He demands true loyalty, not just lip service. He demands his disciples to give him their all. Let me ask you, is your discipleship genuine? Is it growing? You answer those two questions, and you have a great day.